Hello and welcome to Soul in Balance. My name's Alicia and I'll be bringing you a report on the new moon in Aquarius that'll be happening on the 5th of February at 8:03 AM Australian Eastern Standard Time. So, wow, it has been super intense. So much frustration, irritability, anger rising up to the surface. Everybody ready to explode here, there, and everywhere the last few days. And it is all calling us to move into the future, to let go of all our old, let go of our old habits, our old survival ways, our old patterns, everything that we used to be up until this point, because our frequency is rising and it's changing, and we need to let go of the old so we can move into the new frequency to help make this world a better place, and so we have a better life ourselves. So stay tuned and I'll bring you the report. Okay, new moon in Aquarius. So this new moon will be happening at 15 degrees of Aquarius, and it will also be the Chinese New Year, and it will be the year of the pig, which I'm pretty stoked about because I'm the year of the pig as well. So what does all this mean? So when we have a new moon in Aquarius, it highlights what we need to be implementing from the sign of Aquarius. So if we look at what Aquarius people are like, Aquarius represents the eccentric, it represents the rebel, it represents the humanitarian, looking at things from a detached point of view, looking at what's best for the collective. And at this time, we really need to be implementing that into our drive forward for the next month. And as it also is the age of Aquarius, it's something that we need to be doing for the long term anyway. So what's best to do at this time is to think about what new changes you'd like to make in your life and consider all the information that's coming through. We are downloading a lot of new information and a lot of new ways to be at this time. So really, thinking about what's coming through for you, writing it down, and try and implement these new ways into your life right now. And also we need to be going to the polarity point of Leo and implementing our heart in this as well, putting our heart space, putting our inner child and what we're really passionate about into our drive forward, into being a humanitarian and helping and bringing about change, bringing about the revolution, coming from a place that is so loving to help other people, but at the same time being a little bit detached, realizing that it's not about us, it's about everybody. So at this time, it's really important that we do start letting go of the old toxic stuff, the old ways we used to be, the old ways we used to operate, because it just isn't going to float anymore. We are moving into the future at such a rapid rate, and this can be traumatic, you know, like letting go of our identity and what we think we are is actually harder than it seems, but we are getting such a massive push from all the planetary aspects right now. They're all helping us to move forward. And after this month, it is going to slow down. So I think it's really important to utilize this month as best as you can to start getting those wheels in motion, get on that train of change and let go of the old. And it is really hard. I'm not going to sit here and say it's just as easy as letting go, but it really comes down to, are you going to let go of the freak show or the shit show or the show that just doesn't work anymore, that you saw all last year not working, that you've seen all this year not working? And I know we're all trying to implement new ways of being, but at the same time, we might still be coming from a place that's broken, coming from a place of not trusting, or coming from a place that's might not be ready to change, or a bit not sure or not ready or feeling insecure. So at this time, it is really easy to kind of put the brakes on and think, whoa, I'm not ready. You know, this is too overwhelming. I don't know if I can do this, but you can do this, and use this next month to really push you forward, because we are dealing with Chiron at the end of Pisces, which is really closing a chapter, releasing everything. And especially even, you know, coming up the next 2 years, we're Saturn and Pluto coming together in balsamic phase, which is meaning the end of the structures as we know them. So don't get left behind in a way, because in a way, if you leave it till later, it's going to be harder. So it's important right now to start getting those wheels in motion while it's easier to do it. And look, it's no time is easy, like especially if you're in a relationship with somebody and you know it's not working, but you can't let go because of your old insecurities, or you're just not ready. Like, that's tough stuff. Do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's easier to do it now than waiting till later on when it's going to be even harder. So, you know, get on that train, you know, put through that ticket and just go and do what's best for yourself and other people. And this can be work as well. It could be you're in a position at work where you're just not happy. It's not what you're passionate about, but it puts food on the table and it pays the bills. But you have this opportunity now to step into what you're passionate about. And yes, it's scary. I've had to go through the same situation myself, you know, doing what I'm doing right now, doing astrology, doing energy healing. It's a massive step. And even going to uni as well, leaving a full-time job and then having no money. So I completely get what it's like. Or it could be family stuff, leaving old family toxic dynamics in the past, you know, detaching yourself and moving your own way forward and having to validate and love yourself, not needing approval from those in the family. It could even be friendships, getting rid of old friendships or friendships that are toxic, or not even friendships, they're just a friendship of need or service in some way that's not serving you. It's an old kind of dynamic that needs to go. So yeah, it's happening across the board in, you know, every dynamic of our lives. So it's really important right now that we just start letting it all go and just put one foot in front of the other. Like, you don't have to forget about something overnight. I know how hard it is, but I find if you take your focus off it, like constantly bring your attention back to yourself. If you're constantly putting your attention into something else, something that you know you want to let go of, it's going to be harder that way. But the more you kind of bring that attention back, the more easier it is to let go, because wherever attention goes, energy flows. I think that's the saying, isn't it? So yeah, just keep bringing that attention and that energy to where you're needing to go. We have so much creativity, so much potential. Things are manifesting quicker than ever. Literally, as soon as you think something, you'll see it 2 minutes later. It's absolutely amazing right now. So the intensity of manifesting is huge. So whatever you put your focus in, you're going to manifest that. But if you're focusing on the old, fixing the old stuff that you know is broken and doesn't work, you've tried to fix it 1,000,000 times and it still doesn't work, that's the stuff you've got to let go of. And it's hard. It is really hard. I'm not going to sit here and do smoke and mirrors and tell you that it's really easy to forget about these things, because it's not. It is really, really tough. But we are being called at this new moon, especially with Aquarius, to detach, move into the new, move into all the new dynamics, move into the revolution and get things going. So if we add Chinese astrology to the mix here, the year of the pig. The pig is a creature of comfort. It likes to feel good. And the year of the pig also represents wealth, accumulating wealth. And if we look at it from the perspective of right now and what we need to be doing this year, we need to be feeling our comfort. And our comfort is being what really resonates with us, being our authentic self, and having in our environment and around us what's actually working. And I feel like once we start to implement that, then we will start to have wealth. We will start to accumulate what we want. So we really need to be really adding all this together and making it work. So I'm going to go over the Sabian symbol for this degree of this new moon. And usually we go to the following degree to get the interpretation, which is 16 degrees of Aquarius. But at this time, I'm going to go against all the other astrologers and say that the actual 15 degree of this Sabian symbol resonates more, I believe, with what is going on right now. And I'll just read to you what that is. So we've got two lovebirds sitting on a fence and singing happily. Key note: the blessing bestowed upon personal achievements by the spiritual fulfilled consciousness of the soul. So I see that as that we are needing to come from a heart space and really connect to the consciousness, to feel fulfilled, and to also give to others. The other Sabian symbol was relating to a boss at a desk, and I do understand that interpretation completely, and how we need to be having that humanitarian and making decisions for the collective. But at the same time, we really need to be, looking at things from a soul level, a conscious level from our heart. So yes, definitely at this time, I think they both can relate, but for me, I'm going to choose the 15-degree because I really feel like it speaks to us at the moment that we will be blessed when we come from a place of the heart and we are fulfilled from being our conscious self and being our soul's perspective. So at this new moon, we've got the sun and the moon together, like always, and we've also got Mercury there as well. And Mercury is very at home in Aquarius, and it also helps us connect to our higher knowledge coming from a perspective of downloading universal information. And it's making an aspect out to Jupiter, which is adding to the truth, adding to the expansion of the knowledge that is coming through right now. So we're really needing to be connecting to our truth from an expansive perspective, listening to the information and, the little cues that we get, the synchronicities that come through that we really need to be paying attention to. So at this time, really connect to your truth, connect to what is resonating with you. It is just ridiculous right now to just be completely going off course. And especially as we've had those aspects out to Neptune, which means we can be going down the track of illusions and delusions and going down, the rabbit hole of going down the wrong direction. So it's really important now that we're just living in our truth and constantly bringing it back to reality, what we really need to be doing. And because we are getting so much information at this time, we are in a position to be bringing that to earth, bringing that into our realities and creating new structure. So if there's anything that you'd really like to implement into your life, now is the time to do it, and have confidence and realize that everything you want can happen. But the thing is, the key is here is to let go of all the past. The past is what in some way is what is hindering our growth and hindering the things that we really want coming into our lives. So I know I've said it a few times this video about letting go, but it is the major theme right now. I don't think there is one person who's not talking about how we need to be just letting go of everything that we once knew and we once resonated with. So we've had Mars squaring Pluto. So it's the god of war making aspects out to the underworld, the god of the underworld. And it has been extremely tough. Like, as I said at the start of the video, just all the frustration and anger coming to the surface, and it has been absolutely crazy and so intense. And there's just so many people that just don't even know what to do. They have no control over how they're feeling, and this rage that's just bursting out. But I do want to highlight that this rage and this stagnant energy needs to come up. And, it might cause a bit of disruption in your life. It may cause chaos, the aftermath of, having all that anger and all that frustration, especially if you've let it out and it hasn't been in necessarily the most healthiest way. We can be dealing with the aftermath of that, but it was important for that to come up. That energy has been stuck and stirring within us for such a long time. And because there is all these aspects to Uranus as well, it's just get it out. Uranus is the planet of, if this doesn't work, let's just change it immediately. Like, bang, it's gone. So, this is the kind of energy that's going on. And I don't think I've seen many astrologers really touching on the anger at its core. I think I've seen most astrologers talk about it being really good for our drive forward and our passions and being, really fixated on where we want to go. And that is true, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I think it's important that we really do touch on that anger and know that it's okay to have that anger and all that frustration that we had. It is absolutely vital for our step forward, and realizing that those dark aspects are needed. they're just as needed as the light. And if we can connect to our darkness, if we can understand it and move through it and heal whatever it is, then we're going to be moving into the light, moving into the new, because we can't do that until the old and the dark is addressed and loved and accepted for what it is. I myself had to just put myself in my room for a couple of days because I was just so frustrated and so angry, and I felt like personally I couldn't control that rage to some degree. But I knew in my heart that I had to accept that's how I felt, and that I needed to feel that, and I needed to get all that anger up. So I think if I could say one thing to you, if you felt really affected over the last few days with the Pluto squaring out to Mars, that it's okay to feel how you felt. And I completely understand. And if you accept that part of yourself, the more whole you are going to feel, because we feel fragmented and not whole when we're not accepting ourselves in its entirety and owning who we are, owning our anger, owning our sadness, owning our hurt, owning every single aspect about ourselves. And when we can do that, when we can be our unique selves, is when we thrive in life. Who doesn't like being around somebody who's their authentic selves? It's so relieving to be around somebody who is real. Like, being around fake people these days is just draining, and it's actually frustrating even into some degree, or for me anyway. But I think at this time, if we can just love and accept ourselves, whatever happens, we're going to thrive in life. And adding to all that frustration has even been Venus making aspects out to Chiron, and also aspects out to Uranus, which is also adding to that old stuff that's coming up to be healed. And, you know, it's not easy stuff. And I think we need to be, you know, a lot easier on ourselves, in the sense that this stuff needs to come up. And if our heart's in the right place, if we can recognize our patterns and see what they do to us and those around us, and how they put blocks in our life and cause disharmony in so many ways, that we're going to move through this stuff. So it has been pretty intense, you know, the aspects from Venus out to Chiron, and then Pluto connecting to Mars. It has just been really hard stuff. So I think this whole aspect, these aspects going on here, is really just about accepting what is and just letting it go. And again, with Venus making aspects out to Chiron and Uranus, you know, that is highlighting our relationships. It's highlighting what we need to let go of. And I said this at the start of the video in relation to Chiron coming out of Pisces and how that's representing endings. And it really is highlighting the fact that this is focusing on relationships. And, you know, there's so much stigma attached to that, because a lot of people are stuck in relationship dynamics from our conditioning. We are told, you know, that we need to, you know, stick by our partner and you know, make things work. And it could be for our children, it could be for our own survival in some way. But it's really important that if it's not working now, and you really didn't see it working through last year and the start of this year, that it needs to go. And I know it sounds rough, I know it's not the easiest thing to do, but really consider what is going on for you, what is really working in your heart. Is it resonating with you? Is it resonating with the direction you want to go? Because this is what's so important right now. We need to be getting on that train moving forward, and it's going to be harder for you if you can't let go of the old relationships that don't work. And there is nothing wrong with you if you end something that's not working. You're not a bad person. There's, you know, you're not a selfish person, you know, any of these things that society say. You are somebody who is following your heart, and you're following your authentic soul's purpose. And we all need to be doing that. To stay in something stagnant, to stay in something stuck, is just ridiculous, really, moving forward. And I'm not against relationships, I'm not against marriage, I'm not somebody who's into multiple relationships, because I think that's just as much escapism as staying in something that's stuck as well. because in a way that's just avoiding and escaping so you don't have to heal anything. So please don't think that I'm against relationships in any way. I'm just saying that if you are in something that you know isn't working, just really consider letting it go now. Do what's best for yourself and what's best for others moving forward, because it's something that we all need to be doing. We all need to be letting go as a collective of what doesn't work. So I got a new Oracle card deck, and they're absolutely super, and they are called the Sacred Rebels, and I thought that it was so fitting for Aquarius and this new moon in Aquarius, and I do consider myself a bit of a rebel, so I thought that it would be absolutely amazing to use for this interpretation for this new moon. So I'll shuffle the cards and I'll wait till, oh, one kind of flips out. Okay, so we've got the Sacred Fool. So this is it. Hopefully you can see it. Alrighty, so the Fool. The Fool is a great rebel, able to thwart convention and tell the truth without restraint. Your heart is a wonderful and powerful sacred fool. It cares not for the right way to do things. It cares not for what the mind says is real and not real. It lives according to its inner wisdom that cannot be dictated or controlled by anything. It lives, it loves, and it is what it is. This oracle heralds a time, now or in the immediate future, when we feel inspired to live and be passionate for what we can offer this world. It's up to you. Don't try and be appropriate. Don't try and be socially acceptable. And don't worry about what others are thinking about what you're doing. Just be. If you want to wear the Mad Hatter's hat while doing it, that's fine. The Sacred Fool in you is willing to leave behind what has been and what no longer feels right to stay attached to. The Sacred Fool in you trusts life completely. It would never occur onto this part of you to try and outsmart life and to resist the flow. It recognizes that the mind is a monkey puppet on strings. More often than not, it's congealed into fear when it could be playful and dwelling in the radical spontaneity of life. So the Sacred Fool in you urges your mind to let itself be pulled into joy by your heartstrings and not into fear and doubt by control mechanisms of the social media and the mass media. This oracle brings you a message. It's time for you to play. It's time for you to let life happen in completely unreserved, unscripted way. The more bizarre and left field, unexpected, and apparently ridiculous, the better. This might not feel safe or appropriate at first, but that's okay. That's good actually. It's a sign that you are breaking into your own breaking through from your self-imposed convictions. It's a time to move beyond them and now become bigger than life, as life is an adventure and it's calling you. This is wonderful news. It's a desire that life is operating more radically through you and that you become the conductant through which miracles and crazy wild synchronicity to occur. You are becoming more electric. You are more plugged into the randomness of life. If you find yourself making choices that have others questioning your sanity, then you are on the right course. You may feel that you are quite possibly going insane, but you are not going crazy. You are just approaching enlightened awareness. There is a moment, and sometimes rather a long one, when we wake up to life, shed our attachments and our mass opinion and float onto completely different states of being. We might find that no one is really able to understand or connect with us, to the point that we question our state of mind, staying in with that. It will pass. You will eventually see that you are becoming sane, and in an insane world, the tables eventually turn and you will gain greater inner wisdom and creative juice. Stay on your path, stay on your journey, and remember, take nothing too seriously. It will work out and be perfectly okay. So look, to me, I think that is quite fitting for right now. And I do believe that we need to, in a way, be being that sacred fool. Like, how amazing was that card? I actually haven't had that card come up because I only just got this deck yesterday. But I think it really correlates with this Aquarius theme, that we need to be breaking out of the mold, breaking out of our old structures and moving into the new and not caring what anyone else thinks. Like, what matters is your opinion of yourself, your self-worth, not other people's opinions of you. And it is so hard. Like, we've been conditioned for generations and generations to worry about what other people think, to get external validation. I think in a sense, like with social media, it's even worse, like needing to get likes, needing to get approval, needing to get friends on our Facebook or social media or whatever it is, followers. So yeah, it is really tough, but the most fulfillment comes from our own validation. And when we can validate ourselves, when we can be our authentic selves, is when miracles happen. We connect to people who resonate with us completely, and we don't have to hide who we are, and we're happier. We're so much more happier because we're content and we're living our true purpose and our authentic selves. So yeah, I think at this time, maybe be a little bit of a fool, you know, go do something outrageous, go do something different and make your heart sing. So I'm going to wrap up the video. But I think that it's important to say that at this time, we really need to be implementing the characteristics of Aquarius into our lives right now. And understanding that everything that we're detaching from, everything that we're letting go of with all this Chiron at the end degrees of Pisces needs to go. And it's not to say that it wasn't of service, because it was. Everything that was in our lives, we received and we gave and we connected to what we needed to connect to. We grew and it was so inspirational and it helped us on our journey up until this point. And even if we do let go of it, it doesn't mean that this aspect won't come back into our lives one day. But for right now, for our journey forward, we need to be hanging out with or associating with or resonating with or being environments that are more to our alignment. It's just not going to work for us if we stay stagnant and stay stuck in the past. So if I can say to anyone out there that is really struggling to let go of something they're so attached to, please know that it will come back around for you one day. I can't promise that will happen, but for right now on your journey, you need to be focusing on what resonates in your heart. And, you know, like if you don't understand what you need to be doing right now, go hang out with an Aquarius. I don't know if you have any friends that are Aquarius or, you know, what your understanding of an Aquarius is, but I can probably say go hang out with an Aquarius and you'll get a very good idea of what you need to be doing. Even that card that I pulled about being the sacred fool, go out and do something radical at this new moon. Go and try something new. Just go out there and do something that you would never usually do. And, you know, I can say myself, I was in a relationship with an Aquarius. So Michael, if you're listening, hey, yeah, he was absolutely amazing. I've never met somebody who was more authentic and just didn't care what anyone thought. He was just so radical and such himself, and it was just so inspirational. And I can say that I wouldn't be the Alicia I am today if I didn't have that relation with him, because I was so conditioned. I was so stuck in all the social conditioning, my parents' conditioning, the conditioning that I put on myself. And from that relationship with him, I just let go of it all. I could not go any further on my journey not being my authentic self, and just being so inspired by somebody who just lived in their truth. And, you know, it is such a relief to live in your truth. I know now I've never been happier than what I am right now living in my truth. So go and live in your truth. Go do something radical. Go do something crazy, and do not care what anyone thinks. And just like in that reading, it says the more people who think you're crazy, the more you know you're on the right direction. So yes, at this time, go do something different and be really nurturing of yourself. Really support yourself, support that decision that you've made for yourself. And yes, start moving through the process of letting go. I know it's, it's not an easy one, but we need to get the show on the road. We need to be stepping into our highest potential for ourselves, for the collective, and for the planet. So the more we step into our truth, the more those around us will step into that vibration as well, and it makes it easier for everyone. And I know it's hard to detach from those you care about or situations you care about, but at this time, even if they did turn around right now and start on the journey, you're more ahead. So you need to just be focusing on yourself. And hey, maybe those aspects might catch up one day in the future, but for right now, you're ahead and you need to be focusing on that part of yourself so you can move forward. We didn't come here just to stay in our attachments. As a soul, we came here to evolve for ourselves. So look, it's a tough one. I'm not going to say that this time right now on the planet is easy, because it's not. But with all the planets going direct right now, after this month, the planets will start going retrograde. So at this time, start moving into what resonates with you. And I can't, say it enough. I can't put enough importance on that right now. So yes, that is it for me. So thank you so much, and happy new moon in Aquarius. If this video resonated with you, please subscribe to my channel, or if you think it could help someone, please share it. I really would love to be able to connect to and help as many people as possible on their journey. So yes, that is it for me, and many soul journey blessings.